Welcome to Cast Your Bets, the Offshore Gaming Association podcast with your host, Jim Quinn of OSGA.com and J.R. O'Donnell of Red Zone Sports. Let's get started.
Hello, folks, and welcome to Cast Your Bets, Week 16 of the podcast, where myself, Jim from OSGA, and my good friend J.R. O'Donnell of Red Zone Sports and Pregame.com try to help you find some winners, tell you where to play some winners, and in general, try to help you put some cash in your pocket each and every week. J.R.O., how you feeling today?
Certainly, I'm happy to be here, my friend. Unbelievable that Week 16 is just turning the corner here. Great time of year. I'm going crazy busy, but I love to be busy. College bowls, NFL, all the action here. Podcasts are ready to rock and roll. And I got two nice big winners this week. One nice bowl game, and I got a favorite in the NFL that's going to smash a team, and I can't wait to get into it.
Fantastic, man. I mean, it is a good time of year. 2 weeks left in the NFL season, so we're kind of winding down there. And it seems a little tougher to pick some games there. Last week, you had the Steelers over. I was watching the game. I was enjoying the game. I was thinking maybe finally Tom Brady would have to go home and cry to Giselle. But instead, the Steelers get robbed at the end and the over doesn't cash. And I'm just like freaking out, man. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, if I can allude to that one really hurt. And as a professional handicapper for the last 23 years, if I can tell listeners, I usually tell people, hey, for all the bad beats that you have good beats at the end where obviously you were on the wrong side. But that one stung pretty bad. Clear-cut winner, obviously, in my mind. But, hey, you don't pay the tickets there with the Steelers because, obviously, I told people the last team with the ball was going to win when he threw that 68-yard pass down to the 10-yard line, and then he had that touchdown called back. Obviously, hey, you cannot fault the refs there, obviously, because the kid, I guess, did bobble the ball. But that's a classic case of being on the right side with the wrong result. I'm even digging down deeper here. I love to tell the listeners, obviously, that I'm crying in my sheets here, but I'm not. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come back firing strong. I certainly apologize, but Pittsburgh hurt bad, and if you watch that game, that baby hurt to the core.
Yeah, I mean, that's a real crusher there. I mean, I couldn't imagine having been in the stadium right then and there. You finally beat the Patriots. You finally beat Brady. You're going to get home field advantage, which, as a season ticket holder, man, that's why you get the season tickets, so you can go to all the playoff games and sit in your seats and stuff. And then they overturn it, and then Roethlisberger throws that ball that he should have just thrown out of the end zone and just tearing tickets up in my living room, man. It was killing me.
Yeah, I'm tearing tickets up with that over. But another thing that really frosted me, if you can watch that game too, is that gosh darn Gronk. What a way to act down at the end there, taunting everybody. I mean, obviously Brady on that winning drive threw the ball to Gronk, and he's every penny worth. But did you see how he was acting there, taunting everything? I was ready to climb through the screen and just strangle him the way he was acting.
Dude, if I hear the word Gronk one more time, it was like Gronk during the broadcast. And I mean, the guy's a great player. I'm pretty sure he made the Pro Bowl, and you can't really, fault the way that he plays the game, but it seems like he makes a lot of bonehead plays. He got tossed out a couple of weeks ago. I think he's going to end up being one of these bad boy kind of guys, and it doesn't really seem to fit the mold for the type of, performance he puts forth on the field. So a little upsetting seeing what's going on with that guy. And the other flip side of the coin, JR, is, that was a bad beat. That was a bad beat. There's no doubt about it. But, for every one of those, you end up cashing it the other way at some point down the road, or you would have had, something else there. So I think it does even out, and it really just comes down to the fact that you do your homework. It looked like the Steelers should have won that game, and it shouldn't have had to come down to the last minute there, but that's the magic of Tom Brady. It's unfortunate, and here we are going into the NFL playoffs. That muddied it up a little bit in the AFC, and, obviously the goal for each team in the NFL is to get to the playoffs, JR. So there's motivation factors now that I don't really think you see quite as intensely earlier in the season. Any of these teams that are really trying to get in the playoffs, trying to get home field advantage, trying to win their division, that kind of thing, I think you're seeing a lot more motivated football teams out of there. And that's got to affect the way that you're looking at handicapping these games and the way bettors should take a look at playing these games.
Absolutely. That's an excellent point. And I have my notes here. And, if you want to look at a hometown team, Minnesota and the Philadelphia Eagles are vying for that home field advantage. Obviously, a loss by Minnesota puts Philadelphia in. If the Eagles lose by chance to the Raiders, that put Minnesota in. So those motivation things with the Vikings, who are really a strong team. I am really in love with the Vikings defense. And obviously, Philly sprung a leak last week with the defense. I'm sure they're going to shore that up. But that is going to put some motivation because home field advantage late season with the cold weather and the travel is a big-time advantage. And your point is certainly spot on, my friend, because there's some teams vying. Baltimore Ravens, they have to win out. They got 2 cupcakes. But believe it or not, they cannot leave their foot off the gas pedal as the Ravens have an outside chance at 8-6 to get in. So your point is well taken about motivation and home field advantage.
Yeah, I figure that you really have to kind of give almost like college, almost like a college rivalry kind of game advantage to the team that's got the motivation here. And one of the things that I'm a little confused on myself is, do you look at both games? I mean, you might have a team like the Eagles playing the Raiders, and they figured, we're going to beat the Raiders. Is it the kind of thing where when you're looking at betting one of these games here in Week 16, you also have to look at who they're playing in Week 17 because that may affect what you're going to place in terms of a wager.
Absolutely. But you know what? The lines makers are so sharp. As these guys are the sharpest minds out there, they realize the public and they also realize the motivation factor. If I can throw another point in there, which you were talking about with the lines makers, how about the Kansas City Chiefs laying for dead? They beat the Chargers 30-13. Now they can clinch. That's right. They can clinch the division title with a victory over poor Miami. Miami is a terrible traveling team. They have lost 6 straight away from home. And Kansas City, which was given up for dead, crushes the LA Chargers, and now the spotlight, and rightfully so, is on Kansas City. They are a big motivated team. That line is unbelievable, but Kansas City can clinch the title against a terrible traveling Miami team with Jay Cutler. Look out for that baby because Andy Reid is back.
Yeah, and I think that's a glaring example of what we're trying to talk about here. You have a seriously motivated team this week. Andy Reid's got them going really well here at the end of the season. One of the things that I look at a little bit, and I'm not sure if it's really a good tactic, is looking at a dog, maybe dog playing at home against a team that's got a shot, but might be looking at the big game next week here in Week 16. I don't know if that's a viable solution or a viable tactic to use, JR.
Well, that's tough, and I agree with you on a lot of the points. As obviously you're a very sharp mind in this, but I don't put a lot of stock into that right now because obviously I think the motivation of the other teams are way outshadowing some of that home dog. Now, we talked about home dogs that have a shot, but there's some teams that just packed it in. Injuries a la Indianapolis Colts. You got Washington now. As Kirk Cousins, believe it or not, is thinking about going to Denver. Denver plays the Washington Redskins, and basically Osweiler's healthy, and Kirk Cousins might have to shop himself around for the Denver Broncos. So there's a lot of intangibles and a lot of factors there that do weigh into it. What the bettors want to do out there is leave it to a professional. There is so much going on right now that if you dissect a little bit, that's great. A little knowledge goes a long way, but strong knowledge in these situations can put you on the right side, and that's the way I think they should go.
Yeah, they should definitely be taking a look deeper into the stats, getting up at 3 a.m. like JR does, getting piles of paper going. Yeah, I'm figuring probably you buy paper by the box, not by the ream. So that, I can just picture your desk right now. Look, man, there's another thing that I think that I've looked at the end of the season, and I think it's a viable option. When 2 motivated teams play, neither one of these teams is going to blow each other out. Neither one of these teams is going to crush their opponent, I don't think, because they're both motivated. You got Atlanta, New Orleans this weekend. You got Buffalo and New England this weekend. The Rams are playing this weekend against Tennessee, who's really trying to make a play. And Dallas and Seattle, they have the same record. They both have a shot. I think these are all excellent teaser opportunities at this time of year.
You're correct there. Teaser opportunities because these teams are going to trade punches, and you got 2 good teams, 2 motivated teams. There's no blowouts here, as you're right. The teaser factor, which we talked about, and a recreational teaser. You're not going to put your whole bankroll, but you are correct. Some of the heavyweights, obviously, New Orleans, Atlanta, I got that as a 2 or 2 point game. That is absolutely correct. That point about the teaser with those big boys is spot on.
What bettors should look at is playing teasers in the right opportunity. And I think Week 16 is a great opportunity. And we'll probably see it again in Week 17 because there'll probably be a couple of spots still available out there. Baltimore is one of those teams that needs to win out in order to get in. So regardless of what happens this week, they've got to win again. They'll be motivated again next week. We've also got college bowl season happening right now, JR. I told you, these bowl games are just killing me. What do you got for us? Because I could use some help.
All right, this week I'm going to go with a good coaching team. I'm going to go to the Hawaii Bowl. Now, let me tell you, my NFL play goes Saturday, ladies and gentlemen, and my bowl game goes Sunday. That's right, Sunday, December 24th, Honolulu. Houston Cougars with Major Applewhite. Now, that name rings a bell, as Major Applewhite used to be the offensive coordinator at Texas. Now he goes to Houston. Houston comes in at 7-4 against its Fresno State team. And let me tell you about Fresno State. Tefford, that's right, Jeff Tefford from Fresno State. They won all of one bowl game last year. That's right, not bowl game. They were 1-11 or 1-12 for the season. He came in last year, he got his doors kicked in, and this year they went all the way to the Mountain West Conference Championship, lost 17-14 to a good Boise State team, and Fresno State is a motivated ball club here. They're playing in the Hawaii Bowl. The line is 2.5, and let me tell you, Houston is not the right side. They have 3 quarterbacks. None of them can play a lick. Their defense is not very good, and my sources have Houston not wanting to be there. Tefford and Fresno State is a tough ball club. We played them as a free play about, maybe 6-8 weeks ago. They covered a 17 or 16.5 point line. And let me tell you, this guy from Fresno State can get these guys going. They run the ball well. They don't turn the ball over. And Fresno State is the correct side. Hawaii Bowl, college football play, send it in, Fresno State.
The Hawaii Bowl on Sunday, 5:30 Pacific. So, you got to do some math there to figure out when you actually want to watch it. It's on ESPN, though. And the Cougars are 2.5 point favorites here. This kid for Houston, this defensive tackle, Ed Oliver, he ended up winning the Outland Trophy this year. This kid doesn't scare you at all, JR?
No, this one-man wrecking crew, Oliver, he's a defensive end, Ed Oliver. He won the Outland Trophy. He doesn't scare me a little bit because Fresno State is a well-balanced team. They run the ball, they pass the ball, and I think the value is with Fresno State here, catching 2.5. Oliver is almost a game changer here, but what's going to happen is Fresno State is going to win a low-scoring ball game. I think basically you're looking at 21-17, 17-14. This is a tight ball game, defensive-minded, and you're right, Oliver does not scare me a little bit because there's some glaring holes in Houston. They used to be a quarterback team that puts up 70. They got 3 quarterbacks. None of them can play. They rotate them in and out, and that's not the way to have any kind of consistency or any kind of fluidity with the team. Play the Fresno State Bulldogs.
Yeah, they only went 5. The Houston Cougars only went 5-3 in the AAC, which is, the equivalent of playing like Little League almost in college football these days. Fresno went 7-1 in the Mountain West. Again, not the strongest conference, but 7-1 is impressive. This is a fat play here from J.R. O'Donnell, taking the Fresno State Bulldogs as a 2.5 point dog in the Hawaii Bowl out in Honolulu. So everybody who's like freezing and stuff can watch out there and see the people with their leis on and feel really, really sad, I guess. I don't know. We're really happy because somebody's having a good time. And that's what we're trying to do here on Cast Your Bets, where you can find us every single week on Blueberry.com, a very popular podcasting site. You can find us as well out on iTunes. You can find us at OSGA.com. And you can also see a video of this with some stats and trends on these games that JRO is picking and that we're talking about here out on YouTube at OSGA Sports Betting. Folks, we'll be right back after a brief spot from OSGA.
Looking for a great free College Bowl contest that pays cash prizes? Head over to OSGA.com and play the Offshore Gaming Association's College Bowl Bonanza. Just pick every bowl game winner against the spread, and you could cash in. Head to OSGA.com and enter today. The OSGA College Bowl Bonanza starts on Friday with the Bahamas Bowl. So get started today at OSGA.com to cash in on the College Bowl season.
Welcome back, folks. That's a really great contest we're going to be running over at OSGA.com. And you can always find my friend J.R. O'Donnell over at pregame.com. J.R.O., are you still kicking it over there at pregame? You still smoking them?
Yeah, doing very well. I had a real big play on Kansas City this weekend. I knew that they were going to be a nice Saturday night play. They smashed the LA Chargers. That was a big play. Did well in college. Missed the College Bowl here, obviously, and on pregame. I'm doing pretty well, smashing them in NFL, smashing them in the hockey, and let's see if we can keep it going here. I got a nice big fat winner here, and I'm going to pride myself on throwing a nice big NFL play out here for the listeners.
Nice, man. I'm looking forward to getting to that one. You know, one of the things we try to do each week is talk to people about how to bet and where to bet. And one of the things you'll find in almost every online sportsbook is live betting or in-game wagering or in-game betting. And, you know, you actively get to play on these games. It's a fun thing to do for a few dollars. It's really interesting. And what basically happens is when there's a TV timeout during a football game, there's a new line on that game. So if you have a favorite that's a -10 favorite, and the dog scores in the first 5 minutes of the game, you know, that line's going to go down for you, giving you the opportunity to rebet the team that you loved at -10 at -7. Consequently, you know, in the second half, you're going to be looking at a dog on a TV timeout and get a really nice value on a dog there at a line that was probably a lot better than what it was at the beginning of the game. The live betting is something that's very interesting and it's becoming very popular, but it's also something you get hurt at. I mean, I myself have tried it out. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it for a few dollars here and there. But I remember when I first started doing it, I was playing the favorite, and then the dog came along, and the number looked so great, and the odds were so wonderful. I played the dog, and at the end of the day, I realized I was betting against myself. And it's just, it's hard to believe that you can do that kind of thing, but you have to know what you're doing. You have to understand what's going on. You have to watch the momentum of a game. You have to try and predict things. It's not really for everybody. And JRO, you're an old school guy. I know in-game wagering or live betting is something that's probably new to your genre of betting.
That's absolutely correct. Just listening to you discuss it, my mind's thinking both positive and negative. As obviously, I think the sharper you get and the most discipline you get with the live betting, it's fine. But I can certainly see somebody going over the top and just going crazy here with that live betting. I would hate to hedge against a lot of these plays. For me, it's so hard and it's so disciplined and such a checklist of things that I go through for the old school. I'm not certainly downplaying live betting, but I think obviously you got to do your homework, you got to stay disciplined, and I can see it being a train wreck if the wrong people get involved. But if you're disciplined, I certainly think it's another way to make some money.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You know, you have to really, and you can't get crazy with it. You can't place 50 live bets. You know, you can place one here and there, you know, and it is kind of fun. And I play it for small money, and I find it enjoyable. But when I found myself betting against myself, it kind of scared me. It's almost like you're driving a sports car and you go into a turn a little too fast and you start sliding a little off the road. You scare yourself a little bit, and that's kind of what I was doing. I was sliding off the road a little bit there, JR, when I was betting against myself. So, you know, a word to the wise out there. Check it out. I mean, you know, the 5 Dimes operation at 5dimes.eu, they've got 2 different live betting platforms, which are really, really nice. The bookmaker guys do a really nice job over at bookmaker.eu. You know, and pretty much everybody's got it. It's just some places have a lot more offerings, and it's the kind of thing you're into. You know, definitely take a look at that when you're out there. But a word to the wise, and JR brought up a very good point, is be careful. You don't want to hurt yourself. You don't want to chase bad money with good money. You know, if your favorite's down and you start chasing that money, you know, that'll put you in a hole really fast that's really tough to get out of. Speaking of favorites, JRO, you're looking at a fat favorite this weekend. It goes back to what we were talking about motivation in the beginning of the show. You know, I love your play this week. Let the listeners know where you're putting your dollars this weekend.
I'm going Saturday, December 23rd. I'm looking at the Baltimore Ravens playing the Indianapolis Colts, and I never, for the life of me, like to lay a lot of points, obviously. I always like to try to play the dog. I always try to play a dog, because when you play the dog, 2 out of 3 things happen. They went outright, they cover the spread. But this week, I tried so hard to back the Indianapolis Colts with Chuck Pagano. But let me tell you, he doesn't think, he can't wait for the season to end with Indy. Obviously, Andrew Luck's absence, he's got a young defense, and they've blown a lot of leads this year, and their offense has not scored more than 17 points the last 5 games. The Colts are a dismal organization right now, and the Baltimore Ravens with Flacco, minus 13.5 is the way I'm going to go. Now, let me tell you about Harbaugh. Harbaugh might take it easy on his former offensive coordinator, but they are in the midst of a big, fat NFL playoff race. Basically, the Ravens have covered 6 of the last 7, and they need to continue to winning and win big for the wild card challenge here. Let me tell you about Flacco. The 3 best pass yardage games he's had came in the last 3 games that the Ravens has had. That is tough because Flacco is a good quarterback. He doesn't turn the ball over, and Indianapolis is the wrong side. They will not contain the Ravens' rushing game. Their defense is terrible, and I see this 34-10. I see it 27-10. There is no way with counterfeit money that I would play the Indianapolis Colts. I'm playing Harbaugh. I'm playing Flacco. I'm playing the defense. I'm playing a good team in a wild card race against a terrible team. And the Ravens are home. They crush, lay the 13.5 with the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, that line jumped a little bit there, JRO. And this is a nice play because, I mean, the good news here is that the Ravens control their own destiny. If they win out, they get a spot in the playoffs, and they've got to beat the Colts and the Bengals. So you would hope that they bring their A game and crush these 2 teams and go into the playoffs with some momentum. A nice stat I found was Indianapolis this year 1-6 ATS on the road. Man, that's scary. And you got a Ravens team that they only lost by 1 point to a really strong Steelers team on the road 2 weeks ago, and then they crushed the Browns last week. This is a fat play, JR. I love this.
Yeah, I don't like laying 13.5 because usually, traditionally, I'll tell you that right now, traditionally in the NFL, you go back 20 years, you go back 15 years, laying double digits is not a good play, as obviously the dog in the NFL where they want to do the parity and everybody's an all-star. But this is a situational play here. If this was week 1, week 2, there's no way I'd lay 13.5 right out of the gate with Baltimore. But these guys need to keep the pedal down. They're a good coach team. Now, Harbaugh, like him, take him or leave him, Harbaugh knows what he's doing, and they control their own destiny. That locker room realizes that if they beat a hapless Colts team and a terrible, Bengals team, they can win a chance at the playoffs. They are not going to have any hiccups. They are going to practice well, and Indianapolis is going to get down early, and the Colts are not the right side.
Fantastic, man. So that's J.R. O'Donnell of pregame.com taking Baltimore, laying a whole bunch of points. At home, though, 13.5. JR, if this goes to 14, are you still liking it?
Yeah, I will play this at 14. If it gets to 14.5, I'm telling you right now, I do not like it as strong at 14.5. I certainly wouldn't flop, and I'm certainly not going to come on here and say, oh my gosh, fellas, I played the dog. If it gets to 14.5, it is a no play, but 13 or 14 is a definite play. 2 touchdowns. This is, like I said, 27-10, 34-14 kind of ball game. But 2 touchdowns or 2 touchdowns and a half with Indianapolis with a garbage touchdown will kill us, obviously, if we're getting a lay-in 14.5.
Yeah, how about 34-3? That's I mean, I'm looking at this game and I'm saying, like, wow, the Colts are pretty bad. And like you say, they're kind of mailing it in at this point, I would think so. If it was the NBA, they'd be trying to tank these last 2 games, but they can't do that because, there's other teams in the league like the Browns who are worse than them. JRO, so that's taking the Baltimore Ravens minus 13.5 against the Indianapolis Colts on Saturday. And then on Sunday, taking a look at the Hawaii Bowl and going with the Fresno State Bulldogs as a 2.5-point dog. JRO, that's fantastic stuff. I really wish you good luck. And I imagine you'll have some stuff out there on pregame.com for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Bowl games flying in, NHL, NBA. Obviously, the NFL, like I said, I do it all. I pride myself in, I almost sound like a broken record each and every week, but you can certainly attest to that. I do my homework. There's a lot of people out there who say nobody works harder than J.R. O'Donnell. My wife, she doesn't see me for 6 months at a time here when it's football season. But if I have customers, which I have a ton, it certainly is a disservice if I don't work hard, and I turn a lot of stones over to try to make a profit.
Turning stones over. Looking on the bottom of them and seeing, nope, I don't want the Cincinnati Bengals this week. Nope, I don't want the Cleveland Browns this week. Instead, I really would like to take the Baltimore Ravens this week. I love it, JRO. Look, every week I try to talk a little bit to people about how they can maximize their dollars playing at a sportsbook online and how they can stick some money in their pocket. And here we are approaching the end of the NFL season, approaching the end of the college football season. And frankly, I've realized over the years that more than half of the players play only football. So if you're a player who only plays football, and here we are approaching the end of the season, and you have a fat bankroll, start withdrawing some money. Start sticking some of that money back in your pocket. There's no reason to sit on more money than you're going to gamble through the Super Bowl. It's a big mistake players make. What happens is 50% of the players withdraw their money after the Super Bowl. So if you're one of those players, you're going to sit and you're going to wait. And you're going to find lower limits, and you're going to have to just sit and wait. And you're not going to be able to get out $3,500 or $1,200 in one shot. You're going to have to wait. So my suggestion and my recommendation to people at this time of year is to look at your bankroll. Look at how much you normally bet, and if you decide that it's the time to take a few dollars out, stick it in your pocket, and get ahead. That's what you should be doing at this time of year. It's very easy to do. It makes a lot of sense, and I don't like seeing players at the end of the year having to wait. We get a slew of comments at OSGA.com every single year right after the NFL season ends, people waiting for their money. Don't get caught in that trap. Take some money out of your account if you're fat right now. Take some money. Well, you want to take a few dollars and put it on JRO's Baltimore Ravens play. But outside of that, get some dollars and stick them in your pocket. That's what we're talking about here at OSGA this week to try and help you maximize your dollars playing at an online sportsbook. Folks, we have a really great contest running at OSGA, and I urge every single listener to this podcast to go over and play our College Bowl contest. It starts on Friday with the Bahamas Bowl, so get onto it now. It's no cost to enter. It pays cash and sportsbook prizes to win. JRO, we're looking for you out on pregame.com. I'm wishing you good luck this weekend.
Absolutely. I need luck here. Not to dwell on that NFL game, but that really hurt. I'm digging myself a little deeper in the books here. That Pittsburgh-New England game is going to hurt for a while. But if we can sweeten the blow here and maybe get that sour taste out of our mouth with a nice Ravens blowout.
I think it's interesting you're going back to the same conference and taking the Ravens this time. I like that, man. You're sticking it back, like sticking their finger right in the AFC right there. I like that a lot, man. Look, folks, it's been real great here on Week 16 of the Cast Your Bets podcast. Don't forget, you can find us out on Blueberry.com, out on OSGA.com. You can also find a nice video broadcast of this out on YouTube.com at OSGA Sports Betting. Thanks a lot for listening. We hope everybody cashes some tickets this weekend on Cast Your Bets.
You've been listening to Cast Your Bets, the Offshore Gaming Association podcast. Check in each week for more inside the sports gaming world. And don't forget to check us out on your favorite social media site and on our YouTube channel at OSGA Sports Betting. Thanks for listening.